We are live here at Heavy Muscle Radio on this November 14th, 2022 evening. I'm here with the technician, Chris Aceto, and we got lots to talk about. There was a show this weekend in Romania. Very great battle. We're going to discuss in a little bit. But the real story, Chris, is how you doing?
I'm regrade up because I left sunny Brazil and I'm back in cloudy Maine. So I don't have the right internet light. So people were emailing me and said, "You look like you went back in like time 10 years." I said, "Actually, that's the way I look. It's these lights that give me that aged."
You got to get the ring light. The ring light.
I know.
40 years off you. I see people with the ring light. It's like they're like 25 years old again. You know.
Yeah, that's what the people on Tinder use, the ring light.
Yes. Yeah. I don't, if I'm glad I'm not in the dating game now anymore, because if I wouldn't trust like the pictures that I'd be seeing online of like the women I'd be trying to date, because I've seen some pretty gruesome women, look pretty damn good in these pictures. And I know them personally, I'm not mentioning names. I don't want to get in trouble. But
I don't trust the, it's funny. I don't trust the Instagram lights. The Instagram pictures. I just had a kid, this Vladimir from Moldova. We'll get to it. He was he was peeled out of his brains in the Prague show, in the 212, so he got second. But he sends me pictures, like update pictures. And in the pictures, he looks good, he looks good, but he's progressively looking like good and better and better and good. And, you look good. And then when he gets to contest time, because he sends pictures in just normal crappy like this light bulb that I'm using, that he gets on stage and he looks like 400 times better. Yeah, and and the point is that everyone else who he ends up beating, in other words, the entire field. Like I click on there, like Instagram's like, God, he beat this guy, beat this guy. And they're like peeled out of their brains, leading into the show. Mm-hmm. So filters, it's filters, Dave. Whether it be bodybuilding filters, you're talking about dating. You can't even get pictures from people you're coaching.
But the funny, I wanted to segue into the whole filter thing, and I was going to ask you. I think from now on we're going to do a segment on this show, filtered or not.
Yeah,
you decide. I'll have the technician decide. I'll throw a picture of you. I'm going to throw a picture of you right now. Matter of fact, because
I tell you, Dave, I see the real estate pictures. With a wide angle lens, and then they filter the colors, and then you go see the building in real life, and you're like, God, this room is so tiny.
Yeah, exactly. The difference is, Chris, you're not going to buy the building sight unseen. You know what I mean? So, well, I wanted to show you this picture of. Let me put it up on the screen here. So this is this guy just won his pro card, Shuming Yang.
Yeah, he looks crazy. Yeah. Very Victor looks like this guy reminds me so much of Victor Terra. It's ridiculous.
He looks short, right? He's short, I think.
Yeah, he's got the shoulders, tricep cap, and the quads. Everything right there. That looks.
That's a great shot right there. Where did you learn that one? Right?
But his everything looks like Victor Terra.
Yeah.
I wish you had a picture of Victor Terra. Victor would probably have beat him when Victor was 18. Victor was definitely sharper.
I mean, this guy looks like he could be a 212 dangerous guy right off the bat. I don't know what he weighs.
Yeah, no, he's very good. He's
is he more than 212? I don't even know.
I don't know. I was helping the guy who won the middles in this class, and
look how short he is compared to the other guys. He's not tall. He's got to be a 212 guy. I'll get yelled at by someone online. Oh, you didn't even know he weighs 220.
260. Someone's going to say his aunt.
No way.
No, he's probably like he's like a 212 guy.
Yeah,
I would say 212, 216, 208, somewhere between there.
Yeah, he's good.
He's really good.
I'm telling you, he could be. I see Levroni is congratulating him. Yeah, he could definitely be a dangerous 212 pro.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably this year if he wanted to.
Well, maybe we'll bring the 202 division back now that Flex is out of there. How do you like that, Jose?
Well, why did what's Jose Raymond's theory on why they changed the 202 class to the 212 class? Well, actually, it was originally 210, and then it was 210 originally. Then they went to 202, and then they went up to 212
because Flex couldn't make 202.
Oh, is that what it was, Flex Lewis, when he came around the scene?
Yeah. So
you really believe that, though?
Oh, I believe anything. I mean, people believe the Earth is flat, dude. Why wouldn't they make the you know?
So you think they made the class for Flex Lewis? Why wouldn't they just? You would think that Flex Lewis would be better in the Open. If they would have just kept it at 202, he would have been forced to go up to the Open. Who knows what he would have accomplished?
Well, I mean, that's just conjecture, I mean, it's he could have been.
Well, let's assume it never changed and it stayed at 202. Flex Lewis would have had to go up to Open. Who would have stayed in the 202?
It would have been a Jose Eduardo Correa showdown for 7-8 years.
Eduardo was having trouble making 202. Also.
I know, but when he did, he was like, he could. Yeah. I could sauna him down to like 202 every time.
I think Jose would have beat him because Jose was more complete. He was shorter. What about
Jose
David
was
Henry?
Getting better. Well, Henry was very dangerous.
I think it hurt Henry when they moved that up to 212.
It did.
Henry was not a 212 guy. Yeah.
Well, there's when you increase weight, you get different. You get
who won the 202 Olympia? David Henry. David Henry.
Won by Henry. The first one was David Henry. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so that was his calling, right there.
Yeah.
They kind of screwed him when they made it 212.
Yeah. I mean, why not go to 215?
Why not go to 225? Didn't they want to do a third class at one point? They were talking about 225 or something like that?
I don't know. We'll have to consult with Wayne on that one.
That was after Wayne's time, I think, wasn't it?
We'll ask Bleckman, see what he recalls.
I haven't heard anything from Bleckman. He's been very quiet. Have you noticed?
No, there's the Star-Spangled Banner of controversies going on, and if you post on Bleckman's Twitter, which is MD, which has about 4 followers anyway, he has to scrub it, like Hillary's emails. He has to scrub it. You can't say anything negative about anyone.
Well, let me ask you a question.
But even though the whole thing is one big negative board previous to
why are we the only ones covering the whole Washington Post?
People are in a wait and see because people don't want to rock the boat. People don't want to, misspeak and have something come back to haunt them because it's 2022. If you make one prediction or you say one thing, people come back and say, "See, Dave, we can never, ever listen to you ever again because remember in 2022 you said this why they,
what the funny
disqualify you."
Yeah, of course. But we've the reason why you and I talk about it is because we say what's on our mind. We're not.
I'm impacted by it. I'm impacted by it.
No, it doesn't matter. And you know what the funny thing is? I've gotten more calls from Jim Mannion, and him and I have talked more than we probably have our entire lives in the last couple of weeks since it's come out. Because Jim understands that I have to discuss it because it's a topic, and we talk about everything on the show. And he also understands that I'm presenting it from the right angle, which is that there are some bad seeds that have to be gotten rid of, but there's no crime that was committed, and certainly wasn't done by him or his son. And we're waiting to see. And obviously, we know that you had a little issue with Wayne D'Amelio over the weekend. And
I did. Really?
Well,
that was an
issue. You posted stuff on your Instagram.
That's right.
Stuff. Yeah,
that's right. I forgot about that public thing called Instagram.
I want to just clarify something. Wayne D'Amelio obviously is involved with the Washington Post article that was released.
Not when we were on a three-way call. We were on a three-way call, but go ahead.
Let me just say what I want to say first. He met Desmond at the funeral of his father, George Butler, who's a pumping iron guy, right? The reason why everyone knows that is because they put an article in the Washington Post to let everyone know that Wayne is the one who got the ball rolling. Now, having said that, Wayne doesn't control what the Washington Post does. The Washington Post does what the Washington Post wants to do. And Wayne might be feeding them information like an informant, but he doesn't dictate what they write and what they don't write. So I'm assuming they're doing their research. And so they're not going to release something that's not true because they don't want to get sued, right? That doesn't mean that Wayne isn't instigating issues, going on there. And he has every right, if he wants to do that, But, then that also opens him up to people critiquing what went on during his reign. And I think that's what you kind of poked a little fun at,
I had to come up with a nickname a la Trump.
Yeah.
For Wayne.
You've been doing a lot of nicknames lately, I noticed.
I always do nicknames. I can go back to I mean,
you got most of your nicknames insult people. They get
I know, but they're insulting me, even though you know what they're mostly about
I find them funny, but the people who you say them about, I don't find them funny.
Yeah. So, I don't want to repeat the bodybuilder ones because
Lonnie Teeper always had nicknames that everyone seemed.
Yeah, they were all complimentary.
Yeah.
Lonnie came up with them so that he could say, "I came up with them." I came up with them to get under people's skin.
Who came up with who? I forget who came up with the freaking Rican. Remember the Victor Martinez?
I think that was. I think they were all Lonnie. You know,
no, that was Gustavo Bedell. Sorry, the freaking Rican. I think Yeah. Blackman tried to take credit for all the nicknames, right?
Yeah.
The freaking Rican. The Codfather.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't make this. So what's your nickname for Wayne?
Wayne was Wayne Dementia.
Okay.
Because, you know, he forgot what, you know, kinds of seemed to have forgot like the past a little bit, meaning, you know.
He forgot what he did.
Yeah, well, he wasn't very well liked.
Yeah.
And
he was successful at what he did. He was a good promoter, but he was not liked by a lot of the athletes.
Yeah. I didn't say anything about promoting, but we can get into that too. But I mean, I said he was not well liked. I mean, it's one thing to say you're a promoter, but to say you're the world's greatest promoter, which I think
he did say that in that Sally McNeil special. Yeah,
did someone award him that, or did he award himself that?
Yeah, well, he awarded that, just like, you know, some of the gurus out there have awarded themselves #1 guru, you know, too.
Well,
they self-anoint themselves that.
Yeah, I think it's okay, then we'll agree with you, Wayne. You're the greatest promoter in history. So having said that, that's why I said you can go out and have a pro show. You know, you can come up with a sponsorship and have a pro show in New York or Connecticut or out in Vegas and give out $401,000, which is $1,000 more than the Olympia, and have everyone jump ship.
I interviewed Andrea Shaw this past week. I don't know if you saw it. I think it went up the other day, but she won, you know, $50,000 and a truck worth $100,000. So
yeah,
I think whoever promoted that show, what is that? The Jake Wood show? That's pretty good.
A women's bodybuilding show, you get a truck and $50,000,
$150,000,
and the taxes are paid for the truck.
Although I have to retract that. He did not pay the taxes this year for the truck, but she did win $150,000 in prizes. So I guess, you know, it's okay to pay the taxes.
Not bad. Not a bad payday.
Not a bad take. And she's going to do the Olympia, which hopefully last year I guess was 50. So I would say, I was putting pressure on Dan and Jake to raise it. You got to.
Now, are you coming out, Dave, for the Olympia, Vegas?
No, I can't walk yet. You know that.
That's right.
One more year, maybe next year.
Who's coming? Sid?
You, Sid, Lee Priest.
Yep.
King Kamali. You're going to have a really, John Romano will be there.
Is King dieting down for the show, or?
I think he's going to try to get under 300 for the show.
If not, we can cut his water and sodium the last 3 days for the camera.
He says that he'd be willing to do your diet if you put him on a diet.
Is he gonna come as King Kamali, or is he gonna do the George Farah impersonations? I used to call it. Listen, I used to call it George Farah Khan for Louis Farah Khan.
You did. That was that was one of your
names.
Yes.
I had Ron Harris, which was W. The
Wrong Harris,
Harris. When he would like review a show and I didn't agree with that, I called him Wrong Harris.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got.
You had one for Honey too, didn't you?
Honey Rim Job, yeah.
Yeah. You had
kissing on the bodybuilder's ass.
Yeah.
You can go on and on.
Who was Con Job? Who is that one?
Aaron Con. It was Red Con Job.
Oh, Red Con Job. Okay, you had that one right.
That was like looking into the future, right?
Yeah, that was before
I used that way back. I used to call it Red Con Job.
Yeah, you did. I got to give you credit. You got some good nicknames.
The CEOs and CFOs didn't like that.
Speaking of Persian bodybuilders, King Kamali coming from Persia, we had a great battle in Romania this past weekend, huh?
Yeah.
Let's pull up the pictures.
Very good show. Good.
At the end, it came down to two men.
Yep. And
Behrooz Tabani from
Brett Wilkin
Iran
looked night and day over the Arnold, where I thought he was disappointing.
Brett Wilkin, yeah. It's funny, but King Kamali warned us about Tabani, didn't he?
Well, Kamali warned us about the whole country.
Yes, he did, but he did mention him.
He did. He said these guys are a dime a dozen.
He said you're going to see these guys coming out of the woodwork, and they're going to be shocking you.
Yep.
Good decision.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty close.
Yeah, it was. It was
not on the scorecards. It wasn't, but
well, I mean, I know people who were there, and because I wasn't sure, I said, give me your opinion, and they both thought, both guys said it was pretty close in prejudging. Both of them had a small edge to the Iranian. And they said Brett was sweating like a maniac at night.
Oh, he was?
Finals, yes.
You don't think they already had the thing decided by then already? Come on.
I think they probably had it decided. Like, I think Brett's back lat split's actually looks really gnarly here, but the guy's wider, and the front double and front lat spread I give to the Iranian.
I don't know. Brett's pretty good from the front lat spread too.
He's very good. He's very good all over. Very good all over.
Are these filtered pictures or not?
These are filtered. I already posted to whoever this photographer is in Europe. Why can't someone just take pictures like there they are? Look at their backs. Yeah.
That's for real.
Like real life.
Yeah, I think you know what? Tabani's looks better unfiltered than he does filtered, doesn't he? Right?
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
It's funny, but he does look better like now.
No, listen, Dave, I had the guy in the 212 who got second, and I thought for sure he looked, like absolutely better, the best. And he got second, and I asked people who I trust who were there, people I coach, and they said, no, it was very close. And they said the same thing. They said in real life or in video, you'll see that it's closer than you think because you're looking at these crazy pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a shame that people can't just put up real pictures, but.
Well, it's a crazy thing is photographers think they're like doing something. Just take a photo that people can look at and make their own decision. You don't have to. It looks like those pictures are used like they're photos and somebody highlights them with like Crayola crayons. Like the weird colors throw you off.
Yeah. Wilkin's going to do that big man show in Europe in 2 weeks. So
is there a show? Is there another show?
It's not a qualifier for this year. It's a qualifier for 03. It's in Spain.
He's very good here. He's very, very, very. People keep. No, Sean keeps asking about 5, 7, and 8 caps. You can take a 5 cap, Sean, if it's in a prime location. So there's a real estate answer. Yeah. Brett made monumental changes over the Arnold. I thought at the Arnold, he was like, eh. And then so here, he delivered 100%. Really.
The problem is with the strategic move he made. He rolled the dice. He took it was the last show of the qualifying year. I don't know. I really think he should have done a show before this because now he's got to go to the big man. He's going to do it obviously to qualify for next year, but he really can't even do the Arnold now because you don't want to burn yourself out. I guess he could do the Arnold.
Nobody cares about burning themselves out anymore.
No, not anymore. Yeah, until it happens, right? Until it happens.
Yeah.
Look, I thought he did. I think he looks phenomenal. If he could put another 5 or 6 pounds on, he's going to be
dangerous. He's very, very good.
What he did in the last 3 years
was amazing.
Incredible transformation. That's what you got to do. Look, it can be done. The problem is people don't have the dedication to do it, and it's you can't blame anyone but yourself. I tell people if you want to do it bad enough, you'll find a way to get to the gym and do what you got to do.
Yeah. No, he was outstanding. Very, very impressed here.
All right, let's talk about Tabani because he is really, really good, Chris.
Yeah.
And, I think you and I are both very impressed with him. How does he do at the Olympia, you think?
Gosh. Ah, man.
He was third last year, by the way, behind Samson Dauda and Ramon.
Raphael.
No, Raphael
won the show last year.
Yeah, I don't know why someone put Ramon, but you're right.
How's he do? He is, he's got the type of physique in 5 weeks. He can improve since he's put together in the right way. He can improve his fullness that he makes a possible impact here at the show. Like an impact.
When you say impact, does that mean top 10, top 6?
Top 10. Top 10.
Top 10. Yes, okay. I agree with that.
He makes an impact, and you know what happens is the fans, you know, because they haven't seen him, will go crazy over him because, you know, he potentially, you know, deserves to be right there in the top 10. And if he gets, you know, a good call out, people, because they don't know him, will expect him, you know, be talking about him like he deserves to be even higher.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
And he's got real Iranian shoulders.
That's it. Is that a shot at Hadi Chupin?
Well, I mean, no, it's a shot at Ramy because, you know, people talk about shoulders. They're all, you know,
jimmied up.
Yeah. He looked fantastic. He looked fantastic.
Yeah,
he improved over last year. Last year he looked just like this, exactly like this. And this year he just looks like a bigger version of it. You know, last year he was really good. In a couple poses, he was outstanding. That most muscular side chest, he's got like hanging glutes, right? The glutes go down like really low.
Yeah, crazy.
And the glutes get crazy. So he looked excellent last year. And, you know, he just looks even better this year. He just looked fuller through the chest, the shoulders, the back width was thicker this year.
Agreed. 100%. The rest of the top 6 were in third place, Enrico Hoffman from Germany, who looked really good. Jan Turek, 4th place. 5th place was Artem Panudiak. I can't pronounce his last name. From Russia. Our good friend Roman Fritz was 8th. You know, he had sent me pictures last night, Roman. He had done the Palumbo cheeseburger and fries. He looked really good. You know, Roman was like 270. Last show we did before that, earlier in the year, he was like 240. He like completely over-dieted for that show. And you got
he was in Tampa flat.
Yeah, he was over-dieted, over-diuretic. I told him, Roman, stop with the diuretic. Just eat. You got to eat. He's got the crazy metabolism.
Yeah.
So he did the burgers, and he did the McDonald's pancakes. He looked so good. Like, I'm so proud of him. Like, I mean, he really, really was impressive. And he actually, like I said, to come in 30 pounds heavier than you did earlier in the year, that's like a Dory. I remember when Dory said he over-dieted that one year. 92.
Yeah.
And then he came in like 40 pounds bigger. Yeah, that same thing, situation. But Roman's amazing thing about him, if you look and see, I got to find the pictures of him online, but his legs look so good. He had a hip replacement. I did an interview with him like about 6 months ago, or I don't even remember how long it was, a couple months ago. And he had a total hip replacement on one side. Matter of fact, they had to do it twice, Chris. And you would never know. This guy can squat, no problems. Anyone who tells you can't do certain things because, you know, it's you have a hip replacement. You're done lifting weights. Go look at Roman Fritz's legs. Unbelievable.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's a great story. I mean, he was so depressed because everyone was telling him you can't, you know, lift with a hip replacement. So he wasn't getting the hip done, even though he needed the hip done. Mm-hmm. Jose, you listening? Right?
Jose's got the hips.
I know he's got the hips, and. So he just would basically just stay home all the time, and he would just work out in his basement, and he wouldn't go anywhere because he was so depressed. And then, of course, you know, after a while, he said, "I got to do it. I'm in too much pain," and he did it. He couldn't believe the day he got it done. He was in less pain. You know, it was like a miracle.
Yeah. No, I know people. I know a lot of people have had the hips. Not a lot, but every single person who's had a hip or both hips done. 3 weeks later, they said, "Why did I suffer in all that pain?"
I told you I did that with my shoulders too.
Yeah, all that time, the pain.
Look at those legs. Can you pick the leg out that he had the hip replacement on? No way.
Nope.
Crazy. 270. So he has a great. I'm going to show you a great picture he's got on his Instagram. I just saw it. Hold on. After we look at some of his posing. They told him he needed. The judges said you need more back. That's what they told him. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's got a pretty good back. Look at this picture. You'll love this picture. If I can get it pulled up here without my computer crashing. Hold on. I have all these fancy computers in my house, and then I use the worst computer for the radio show. I don't know why. Look at this picture of Marcus Ruhl and Roman as a kid.
Oh, that's crazy, huh? He looks like a men's physique guy, right?
Right? Yeah. Isn't that great? Isn't that a great picture? I've known Roman since he's like, I think 19 years old or something like that. I mean, he's been a bodybuilder for life. November 2008. Crazy looking. He doesn't even look like the same person.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think, someone asked me this question, Chris, how do you think Marcus Ruhl would have done had he been competing now?
He is, it's a great question. He's, Marcus Ruhl is, it probably come down to him and Ramy.
You think he'd be that high placement wise?
I mean, if he was tight enough, he had shows where he was tight and shows that he was watery and shows.
Think about the show he won Night of Champions. I thought that was like almost the best he looked at one year.
Well, I think he won. Did he win the Canada the week later or something
something like that? Yeah, I think he won 2 shows.
Yeah, I mean, freaky.
People don't realize he was competing in a very competitive era.
Yeah.
Imagine you got to stand next to Flex Wheeler and Kevin Levrone on stage and Nasser.
He crushed. Listen, just take Kevin at his best. Close your eyes and think when Kevin is at his best. And I know, modern day fanboys don't want to say that he could compete at whatever level. He'd beat almost everyone, if not everyone. The year that he won the Arnold. Take Wheeler the year that he won one of his Arnolds, and put Marcus Ruhl at his all-time best in between them, and you wouldn't look at him. Because they had a lot of mass or enough mass, but they had tie-ins that just made them stick out. Kevin looked like everything was jimmied up. Everything. Same thing with Wheeler.
And nothing was. That's the funny thing.
And you're right. He was in a tough era.
Yeah.
It's so funny, Dave, how the sport's changed in the sense that, because we have so many divisions, but you would go to what is in my mind is like Ruhl would get crushed against Levrone and Wheeler, quarter turn to the right, quarter turn from behind. It's all over for him already. He's not going to be able to compete. But now it's just like front double, quarter turn back double, quarter turn side chest. And I think that might be it. Absent thighs most muscular or something. Yeah. So it's
guys are bigger today. And in some cases, harder, okay? But I think that the gene pool might have been just better in the 90s. And that can happen in any era. That's not because guys are not training as hard. It just happened to be a very good, run in those 90s where there was a lot of good guys that had great genetics in the sport,
Yeah.
It has nothing you can't, Levrone didn't do anything special. He just trained and ate, and that's his physique. He had very good genetics. Same thing with Flex Wheeler.
Well, I mean, just just remove, because he's isolated a little bit. Terrence Ruffin, just take him out of the picture for a second.
Mm-hmm.
If Chris Bumstead was in that era, and Ramon Dino was in that era, I'd be telling Ramon, okay, you got to get bigger, because there'd be no classic. And I'd be pushing him towards the open, and you'd want to see what his physique would look like as in the open division. Whereas now you're holding people back, so to speak. Chris Bumstead, Ramon. I mean, there's a lot of people in classic that maybe 4 years down the road would graduate, or they'd be good open pros, but they're going to stay classic. So when you talk about gene pool, a lot of those people are being,
True. Bumstead won the North American in bodybuilding. Right there. He's a bodybuilder. He would have definitely gone into the open class and competed with the open guys, and he probably would have put on another 40 pounds of muscle, and who knows how he would have done.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, that's definitely, I didn't even think about that from that perspective. Although I think guys like Flex and Levrone never would have been classic guys.
That's because I'm the greatest guru, Dave. I got the greatest eye after I self-acclaimed that, like Wayne.
And you gave yourself your own nickname too, the technician. You made up.
Yeah, I did. It was a parody, but I did say that George Farrakhan, and I say that out of respect, George. George did say, brother, only me, and there's only 3 other people with my eyes. And I know if you ask George, who are the other 2? He'd say Steve, Jim, and Tyler.
yeah. But George did hire you as his coach one time, right?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Yep, I prepped him for the Connecticut, his last show.
That my belief on that is that he really didn't need you as a coach, but he wanted to try to suckle your information out of you that you might have had, that maybe you knew some secrets that he wasn't employing with his athletes, which is actually a smart move from a business.
Well, everyone does that a little bit. Yeah. I mean, that's what people do. You know, it's like they jump around and someone I was coaching, you know, for a long time just told me today, oh yeah, I'm going to be working with Chad Nichols. I said, oh great, you know. And the point is, you know, he said, oh, I want to see, you know, what else is out there in terms of information. I mean, you'll learn something, but essentially Chad is like me, is like someone else who's just going to tell you what to do. You're not going to learn, you know what I mean? You might learn your body along the way.
I tell people, if you want to learn about, you know, science of diet and nutrition and supplementation and drugs, take my guru course. Then you can learn, and then whatever. Once you have that information, you can work with whoever coach you want. Most coaches that are good in today's world are not guys that are educating you. They're guys that are taskmasters. You know, Chris, you're the first person to say you're not really, you know, you're not going to give people information on, you know,
you'll learn nothing from me.
The Krebs cycle. You're going to tell them what to eat, what to do, when to do it, what to do cardio wise, because you're like a chef that's putting the ingredients together. You're not going to explain to them why you're putting the ingredients in there. That's not what you do, and that's not what most of the best coaches do. They're just guys that have good eyes and know how to manipulate the variables to get a good outcome. You know, if you want to learn, you know, the science of what's going on, that you have to find someone like me who's giving a course, not necessarily work with me, but a course, you know, and learn that. And then if you want to work, you know, learn the science of what's going on so that you can be a better coach yourself and then make money from it. That's a smart thing because you're educating yourself. But most people like who are employing you, that's why a lot of the top guys use you. It's because of your eye and your attention to detail.
The fifth, according to George, your 5th best eye round.
Maybe number 4. You might sneak into number 4, Chris, if you're lucky. You know, you might have a number 4 pegged over there. But
even though I have to wear glasses,
you're pretty solid. Yeah, you're a pretty solid fit. I need to wear my reading glasses more because my wife says that when I wash the forks, I don't get all the stuff in between the fork.
Don't you have a dishwasher, right?
I hand wash everything because I don't. You think I want to load the dishwasher, and then I have to put the soap in there, then I got to unload the dishwasher, and then still won't be clean. So I'm just like, what? Yeah. And you know what? These new stupid high efficiency dishwashers, they don't even dry the dishes properly because they only use so much heat. I don't even know what it is. Every time I open the dishwasher, everything's still wet inside, you know, and I got to wipe it off anyway. So
I prefer when we in the summertime we come back from like a picnic and we overbuy like plastic forks and knives and paper plates. I love just throwing everything out because then you don't have to do any dishes.
No, I caught my wife once washing a plastic fork. I'm like, "What are you doing? Throw it in the garbage." Yeah, I like this. She liked the fork. There's some plastic forks that are really pretty good, actually. I got to tell you. Yeah. I like the rigid plastic forks that are like the clear ones as opposed to the flexible ones, you know?
Yeah. I hate the flexible ones. I like the rigid. I know exactly what you mean. I hate because when you try to cut a piece of chicken, it breaks in half.
My father used to order from this, oh my God, this Italian restaurant. Oh, it was Italian. It was a pizza place, Pietro's in East Meadow. They've been around for 50 years. He would order the stuff and it would come with the styrofoam and he'd get this knife and the fork. And I don't know if he couldn't see. He was like, my father was very forceful with that knife and fork. And the knife would crack. And if you were sitting too close to it, you'd get hit in the face with like a piece of the knife.
It goes flying off.
Put in there. I said, Dad, why are you eating with the plastic utensils? Why don't you just put it on a plate and eat with, you got utensils in this. I don't want to watch this crap. Are you kidding? They give me this stuff for free. I said, but you complain and break them every single time.
Free. Keyword was free. He likes free.
Yes. It's like, what am I going to do? Throw these out? And I'm wasting them.
Yeah.
I said, fine. If you saw the stuff in my father's sink, forget about it. My father would leave things in the sink for years. They'd be like, you could probably cure cancer with the bacteria cultures that were growing in the water in there.
Yeah, well,
every time I come over,
Bob Breskin never had a dishwasher. I used to wash his dishes all the time. I'd come in and eat like tons of bodybuilding dishes. He used to love it. I'd come in and like clean that kitchen. My father
likes to soak things. He likes to soak things. I said, Dad, if you would just wash the pot as soon as it got off the stove, you wouldn't have to soak it for 16 hours. I said,
yeah.
What do you know? That's what he used to tell me. Do your thing. You're too rigid, he told me. I said, I have ways of doing. I have all my little protocols, Dad. I said, I have to follow my protocols. I'm a man of rituals. If you saw how many rituals I have at night before I go to sleep, Chris, forget about it.
Listen, I know from the flossing to the brushing to the mouth guard to there's a lot to the to the eye drops, because I have no rituals. I just like
I usually
I'm like there's
Chris
no ritual.
Falls asleep. Yeah. I've fallen asleep on the couch, Chris, and I've gotten up, and most people just go into bed. I'm like, I got to take my contacts.
Contacts and rinse them.
By the time I get all my rituals, I'm wide awake, and I can't fall asleep now because I've completely woke myself up.
Yeah.
But melatonin is a great thing. If I take 3 Somalize, my nighttime, sleep product, it doesn't matter. I could take a nap 5 minutes before I take 3 of those. I'm out. Lee Priest loves them too. That's the great thing. By the way, we have a sale at Species Nutrition going on now for a few more hours. So we're selling Carbolize, which is my high molecular weight carbohydrate. We have the unflavored, which you can add to any protein and not change the flavor, or we have a banana, which is really good. At speciesnutrition.com, it's $24.99. Go over there right now. I'm telling you, I think we have a few more hours it's up for. You can purchase Carbolize for Veterans Day sale, $24.99. It's you know what, Chris, I do this religiously. Now that I go to the gym again, I get back from that gym, 2 scoops of Isolize, 1 scoop of Carbolize. I put it in 6 ounces of water, nothing. With a spoon, I mix it. I don't blend it. I gulp it down. And you know what? I feel it. I'm like pumped, and I feel like my body's in recovery mode in 20 minutes. I
can tell that's because I have the 5th best eye in the sport after George, Jim.
Have you noticed I put some size back on? Like
you look bigger.
Yeah, I put some size back on.
Well, Jimmy, those arms up, and
I always told people, if I can go to the gym regularly, and if I increase my protein intake, which I have, all I've done is increase my protein intake about. Probably added about 50 or 60 grams of protein to and I've gained. I'm up to almost 200 pounds already, and I was down to as low as 185 when I couldn't work out because of my foot surgery. So gained 15 pounds. So I can grow pretty fast up to a certain point, and then then I'll hit like a wall. I don't really want to go over like 210 or anything like that. I'm 200 is actually pretty good weight for me, but it is what it is. I'm no Lee Priest, that's for sure. Yeah. Lee hits that arm shot. I'm like, Lee, it doesn't matter if you take drugs, if you don't take drugs.
Yeah, the huge arms.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, his arms are insane.
I'd kill for those arms, man. That's a gift. He had those arms when he was probably you saw it when he was 13.
17.
He had good arms.
When he's 17, his arms were huge.
Yeah, they were enormous. Crazy. This guy says I have a turkey neck and triceps. Listen, it's not a turkey neck. It's a lizard neck. I'm a monitor lizard. I'm not a turkey. All right. Turkey is when I hit about 80, and then I have the gobble hanging down there. Right now, I got a pretty tight neck. I love the comments. People are like, these guys should be comedians. They should start their own comedy channel. Some of these guys. So let's talk. We got Olympia in 3 weeks. I was talking to my good friend Dan Solomon.
5 weeks, but go ahead. 5.
Oh, it's 5 weeks. Oh, Nationals in 3 weeks? What's in 3 weeks? Nationals?
God, don't panic me, Dave. I just put up I got 12 people in the Olympia. My wife asked me, how many people you got in the Olympia? I said 4.
Excuse me. I think Nationals are in 3 weeks because I have clients in both, so I'm confusing it. But the Olympia is in 5 weeks. I think you're right. Yeah. So I'm talking to Dan Solomon, and Dan told me the other day that the night show, Saturday night, is already sold out. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
You're lucky I got you a seat. I got your press seat.
Thank you, Dan.
Dan gave us whatever we wanted. rolled out the red carpet for us. I can't thank him enough. Thank you, Dan. We have a big contingency of RX Muscle people, excluding myself because I can't walk yet. So I'd be holding you guys back.
Not to be confused with Robin, because when Robin had the Olympia, we couldn't even go to it. Just to remind you, Robin is mistakenly put on the committee to save bodybuilding.
Oh, Robin Chang, yeah.
So yes, so while I make fun of Wayne Dementia, the IFBB or NPC Worldwide, whatever, they have Robin Chang, big mistake, on the committee. Robin wanted to debate that, going Iron Debate. He didn't allow us to come to the Olympia acting like a child. He acted like a child. And now the child is on the committee to, I don't know, save the sport. Absolutely fucking ridiculous.
All I know is
if you want one takeaway from the show, people in Pittsburgh, get Robin Chang off that committee.
There you go.
If the name of this show is like The Truth Hurts, sorry, Robin, it hurts.
Yeah.
You fucked us out of like 2 years out of attending the show. And unfortunately, I don't forget. I'm not like Wayne Dementia.
Well, you know what? He also, remember my photographer got there late?
Tell the story.
Yeah.
You have to look ass and kiss balls and all that stuff to get back in like the graces to get a press pass.
We had 4 press passes. One for my photographer, Ralph Noble, who there was a hurricane in Florida. The airports were closed. He spent 24 hours in the airport. Instead of getting there on Thursday, he got there on Friday, which was fine because the show starts on Friday. And he went to get his press pass, and they're like, sorry, can't have it. He's like, why not? He's like, I just got in. He's like, well, you got to pick him up on Thursday. He's like, we have press passes, though. Nope, sorry. Robin's wife or something like that, whoever was working there, said, nope, that's the rules. So after me bitching and complaining, I have to beg for press passes. Thank God, like I said, thank God my friend Dan Solomon's running things up because
the press passes were like Dave. The press passes were like on that occasion. For
you would think I was in it. I was like trying to sneak into I was like some like guy who never even.
They were like yogurt. They had an expiration date on them.
so what? But
sorry, you weren't here in time. You can't get them.
It was worse than that, Chris, because they said, all right, you know what? You have your press pass. I'll tell you what I'll do. Since you need your photographer to shoot the show, you can give your photographer your press pass. And then in other words, I had to forfeit my press pass to my photographer. And then I wouldn't have a press pass. So at that point, I was ready to, get online live and tell the story and go crazy. So, but Jim Mannion and I have a good relationship now. Jim said to me, Dave, you come to me if you ever have a problem. I said, Jim, I have a problem. What's the problem, Dave? I told him the whole story. He rolled his eyes. And he reached into his pocket like a true gentleman, and he gave me 2 sets of VIP seats to the whole weekend. And he said, Dave, give your photographer your press pass. You're my guest. And he gave me those tickets. And that was a true class act on Jim's part, because he knew, even though he's not, look, I don't run the Olympia, but you know what? That was not the right thing to do, and I'll take care of it. And so that's why I have a lot of respect for Jim. Jim and I have clashed heads. We've had our run-ins, but it doesn't matter, because you know what? It's like I've had arguments with my father, right? But at the end of the day, he has my back. I had his back, So
it's okay to clash with people.
Yeah. So Jim took care of things, and that's why. Look, he knows. Look, no one. You can say what you want about Jim Mannion, but you know what? Lee Priest has been kicked out of the IFBB more times than any, and he said bad things, and there's been terrible words exchanged, and Jim lets him back in every time. And I even mentioned him the other day. I said, because he said, what does Lee think he can take out of the IFBB permanently? I said, I don't know. He thinks that he's like, he's not. He can come in anytime he wants. I said, I know. He just likes to break balls. But that's Jim Mannion. He'll forgive. He forgives. He had a problem with John Romano also, if you remember, several years ago.
I remember.
All from Robin Chang getting upset that John criticized the aisles in the Olympia. That he said they were a little narrow. He goes, I would have liked to see in the Expo a little wider aisles. Everything else we said was so complimentary. That's why we lost.
Well, that's why we should only talk negative, because some people don't deserve positive. Actually, right. I mean, I forgot about the aisle thing.
Remember that? John got berated, for that. But anyway, so John and Jim talk all the time now on the phone. So Jim's like he forgives. He's one of these guys who'll yell a little bit, but if he likes you and he knows that you're a good person and that you're helpful for the sport, he's not gonna shut you out. Mm-hmm. But that's all the drama. So anyway, Dan Solomon has got things going great. They're in that new venue at the Venetian Hotel.
I love the Venetian, beautiful hotel.
The fact that they sold that place, it's got like 7,000 seats, I think. The fact that they sold it out, that's pretty impressive on Saturday night.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Very impressive.
Yeah, I'm actually a little jealous that I'm not going, but I'll watch it at home on the live stream, which, by the way, they do a very good job with that live stream. Mm-hmm. We'll have Phil Heath will be in the booth this year doing commentating, which I think is
Phil did a good job. Yeah, no, he did a good job in Boston. So
yeah, he's good. He's got good insights into bodybuilding.
I'll call Phil Dr. Phil. That'll be his new nickname.
And you know what the great thing is, when Phil critiques the show, he doesn't like compare every competitor to himself, which is, he gives us his opinion.
You mean like Sean Ray?
Yeah, like Sean Ray does. Yeah, exactly.
No, that's why.
I was better,
No, that's why Phil did. I think he surprised a lot of people in Boston because he came across. I mean, he analyzed the show without inserting himself into the show, which is what every great former athlete, whether you watch in the NFL or baseball, people don't say, well, when I played, when I battled out with, Lou Gehrig, when me and Dorian, Sean Ray would say. I think Sean's a second in command behind the Washington Post, so I'll make an official prediction here, everybody. Sweet and Low, which is another nickname. It was Sugar Sean Ray. I changed it to Sweet and Low Sean Ray. I think he is the second person, and I am a very good guesser, Dave, as you know, and I'm usually right on these things, and I bet he's instigator number 2.
Really? You think that Sean Ray is instigating? Wow. That's a I'm sure I'm going to
his non-commentary on what's going on is deafening. It's so loud.
Wow. So I'm going to definitely get a text message from him after this show. I can guarantee that. Yeah.
Say Chris seems to think he's usually right on these things.
You just said it.
A zillion predictions, Dave, with you over the years. He thinks you are instigator number 2.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
What is your reply?
All right, let's see what he says.
I even know what the reply should be.
What will it be?
No, I'll tell you off air. I know what he'll say off air, too. I'll tell you.
Okay. But I wanted to pull this thing up. Did you see Phil Heath, how big he's looking still? He's with Shannon Sharp, training at the gym.
No, let's see how big
he looks like he's getting ready for the Olympia. Look how big he is.
Dude, I mean he's a freakazoid. It's like saying, I can't even think of an analogy. It's like thinking oh, look at, look at Michael Jackson. He hasn't done a concert in 5 years. Look at him in his home studio singing and dancing. You're like, yeah.
You think he's going to try to make a comeback?
Those shoulders and arms are just silly, dude.
I know, isn't it? How old is he now? Like 43, something like that?
Younger than, yeah.
Pretty.
No, I don't think he's 43.
Impressive.
I think he's
42 or 43, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. For sure.
Yeah, no, he's impressive.
Right, because I remember he turned 40. I thought felt like 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what it is.
I mean, I don't think he'll win the Olympia again, but he certainly.
No. Well,
he looks as big as he's ever looked, But then again, Kai Green looks. Maybe you know what they should do? They should do not Masters Olympia. They should do like a celebrity pose off at the Olympia every year. Pick Kai Green versus Phil Heath. Who wouldn't want to see that? Have them do a celebrity thing. Have Jake put 50 grand in a till for these guys. It doesn't have to be winner take all. Maybe the winner takes 80% of it. And why not? This way, there's no judging. It's just, it's judged, but it's not for any title. It's just entertainment purposes. You could do it at the press conference. It would make the press conference 1,000 times more interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Phil, just thinking,
Kai still with Phil, with Redcon job?
I guess so, yeah. I think he might be the only athlete left. But think about that, Chris. These guys probably could both use the money. What's give them 25 grand each? You do know how many people will subscribe to the live stream just to see that pose down between those? Probably more guys than would subscribe to watch the whole show.
the Dubai Muscle Classic would probably give him 50 grand each just to come and do guest postings on stage.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that that's something you want to try to think of an act to bring to this, a celebrity act that's going to attract attention to the show. I mean, Phil's huge, Kai's huge. Why not pose down, man? These guys.
He's not gonna do it because he's going with Arnold's son on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah. You know what? Kai should be on Dancing with the Stars. That would be a fucking
people would love it. People would love it.
Win, man.
Yeah.
Viewers
would love it because you know what? Between the dancing and lifting the girl over his head,
I would be better than the actual professional dancer.
And the flamenco and the waltz, he could do it all. And then the interviews. The interviews would be the best part.
Yeah. Kai would push the girl off the stage, and he would just start doing like freelance and like spinning on his head and shit like that.
Yeah.
Now that's entertainment, Chris.
You got to get Kai on the show, Dave, for an interview because people want to know what he's doing. Actually,
he should get us
action because you know what. Instagram is not, and TikTok, whatever he does is, it's not like, what are you up to? You know what I mean? It's not like there's no information. It's just like what you want to spit out.
I'd like to see his Olympia predictions.
Yeah, although great.
Getting him to actually give a prediction might take several hours. I have to break it up.
Depends upon what a prediction is, Dave. It's predicated on assumptions into the future which have yet to occur. Using a very subjective. Then they put a little dig in on the judges who never gave him first. Using a very subjective plan.
I think, Kai, do you feel like that you've gotten screwed over the years? Maybe not won the Olympia because of stuff that really had nothing to do with your physique. Well, how could I put this? Let me just say it this way. I'm like, Kai, spit it out.
Yeah.
He'll mime it. I'm going to mime it for you. Yeah. I got you, Kai. All right, you good. Seriously, Kai Green, Phil Heath. Who put in the comments below? Who wouldn't pay $20 for a pay-per-view or $30 to pay-per-view to see that? I would. I'd pay $100 to see that. I'd actually show up in person to see that one. I'd have to get on an airplane with my fucked up foot and everything.
You'd never make it through the metal detectors.
Yeah. You know what? The doctor, I went to see the doctor, I guess it was a week and a half ago. Because I'm in a walking boot now. So I'm built up to 50%, weight on my foot. And he said, I'm looking at the x-ray and he's like, there's no conceivable way that any more hardware could have been put into your ankle. Meaning that he maxed out everything. Just
metal is maxed.
I have a rod through the bottom of my foot into my tibia. I have a metal plate in the front to protect it. I got screws going in 40 different directions. And you know what the weird thing is, Chris? I can't even feel this. It doesn't even feel like there's anything in there. It's the human body is such an amazing thing that you could have all this metal and screws inside you and you don't even know it. It's mind-boggling. I like my shoulders. I feel like my shoulders are mine. Like that. There's nothing was ever done.
It's so funny. I was just thinking the other day if you could feel on your heel the rod.
I asked him that. He said because it looks on the X-ray, it looks like it's coming past out. It's not completely flush with the bone. So I'm like, how am I not stepping down and feeling this thing? He's like, because you got an arch in your foot. I said, I really don't. I have very flat feet. He's like, look, if it ever starts bothering me, we could always pull it out. I'm like, hold on a second. How the freak are you going to pull that rod out of there? You'll never get it out of there. I said, I don't want you
shattering everything. Then they definitely have to take your.
I said, leave the rod in there. I said, hopefully you're right. I'm not going to feel anything. But yeah, I've been walking so far. Now I'm walking with a walking boot. When I walk barefoot, that'll be the real test to see if I feel it or not. But it's amazing the technology we have today. But so guys, the take-home messages: if you fuck yourself up, weightlifting, and you need new shoulders, new foot, new quads, hip replacements, we all look. If you interview enough bodybuilders, we've got them all already. Everything's been replaced. But the bottom line is, who cares? As long as it works after that. And they seem to have these replacement joints down pretty well nowadays. So it's okay. Put your body on the line. You'll probably, the funny thing is that, Chris, I know people that never even worked out and they need hip replacements and they need knee replacements and they need, shoulder replacements. Does working out make it worse? Probably. I mean, but maybe speed it up. But I think that your genetics is your genetics in the sense that if you have bad joints, you're probably going to get, it might happen a little later. Like my sister's getting her hip replaced. She's 4 years, she's just turned 50. My father had both his hips replaced, as you know, but he didn't have it done until he was in his 60s. So I don't know, I don't know if he just dealt with the pain more than she says she's in a lot of pain. So, my sister's not really too much of a complainer. So
because he had other things to complain about, which preoccupies his brain from
my sister works out. She walks in high heel shoes. My father really stopped doing everything, in terms of exercise for a very long time. He took the Trump approach. He didn't want to waste any extra energy above and beyond what he needed to. So, and it worked to him. He made it to 88 years old. Probably he didn't smoke. He probably would have made it to 100. My father.
Yeah. How often did he smoke?
He wasn't smoking recently, but he smoked for a good amount of years during his life.
Back in the day, all the teachers did.
Oh my God, he smoked pipe, he smoked cigarettes. That's probably if any of you guys, I don't think many bodybuilders do that. There are some, but if you smoke, that's the worst thing. You might as well just suck on the tailpipe of your car. You're just breathing in like the worst junk you could possibly do. You're breathing in carcinogens. You're breathing in basically soot into your lungs. Why would you want to do that? It's the dumbest. It's the absolute dumbest.
Well, it gives you a good buzz
of all time.
So
in 20 years from now, people will look back to people who actually smoked cigarettes. I'm not saying people won't be using nicotine 20 years from now. They will, in different forms, whether they're vaping it or fucking putting drops in their eyes. I don't know how they're going to get it into their body in 20 years. But people will say people must have been so stupid to suck those cigarettes. It was so unhealthy for people. There was so many easier delivery methods to get nicotine into the body. You could chew it in gum. They got nicotine gum, for God's sakes. Why people like to smoke? I know oral fixation. I know the whole thing. But that's not why. People like smoking cigarettes. It's a very addictive habit. And believe me, the companies that made the cigarettes knew that it was addictive. And
no, they didn't, Dave. They never knew. Remember 60 Minutes when we were kids, they did a big expose on them.
No, they got sued. They got sued big time. Big class action suit. And it wasn't Lisa Bloom who was running, that's for sure.
Oh, don't mention that name. Wayne will get you a text in a minute. Hey, don't mention Lisa and the cigarette companies in the same sentence.
We live in this cancel culture now. It really doesn't surprise me that Wayne can have whatever animosity he has for Jim Mannion and everything, all he wants. But the bottom line is that this Washington Post never would have picked this story up 10 years ago. This is a hot. They like controversy and canceling people is what this culture is about right now. It's disgustingly sad that that's where we've progressed to a point where people love to bring people down. But that's the culture we're in right now. Yeah. They want to bring
grievances and cancellations.
You know why? Because they want to level us all off, Chris. They don't want anyone up here. They want everyone mediocre. So that's the society we live in.
I love mediocrity.
I despise it.
I tell the 12 bodybuilders I'm helping for the Olympia, just don't diet too hard or train too hard. Just right in the middle. There's a sweet spot.
The truth is that it's not good. You can't have too many people that are workaholics and have too many high aspirations, because then no one wants to do any like the regular work. Like no one wants to build houses, no one wants to build roads and stuff like that. So you do need people who don't want to, don't aspire too high, but at the same time, it's terrible when the media, press, social media, which I blame on most of the reason why everyone is trying to cancel everyone. It's social media. It's not really the press. Press is jumping on the social media bandwagon. But what do people do on social media? Look at all the comments. Half the comments that were right in our comment section here, it's all negative shit. Making fun of you, making fun of me, this and that. I don't touch it. I let it stay up there. I don't give a shit. But it's the social media people that are jealous of people who are excelling at anything. So they want to bring everyone down to their level, which is basically the gutter. Mm-hmm. And then the media thinks they have to kind of piggyback and mirror what's going on social media. So they do the same thing by bringing down, anyone they could possibly bring down, from celebrities to politicians and to organizations. And that's where we're at now. I mean, and this is not conducive to having a successful, prosperous society with a good economic base. You know, we're destroying we're destroying our own society basically by not allowing people to excel, by being jealous over it.
Someone in the comments just made a great comment. It said the worst thing to ever happen to culture was social media. It is where wokeism was born and where authenticity went to die.
Yep.
Very insightful.
Yeah, very, very good. And I see there's a lot of people saying we support you guys and everything like that. And that's great. You know, I appreciate that, because you know what? The people who do support us don't really put comments in there.
Be careful. We'll be careful, Jim K and I and TCTC and Joni Bradford. We'll be like Elon Musk and charge you $8 to authenticate who you really are.
That's right. That's right. There you go. There you go. So what do you think the future of Twitter is before we wrap this show up?
What prediction?
I don't post on Twitter personally. I don't like it, but it's more of a political.
I think that Elon Musk is a genius, and even geniuses make bad investments and big mistakes. And I think that he was pretending to buy Twitter at the beginning,
right?
And then he kind of like people on Twitter, people in everywhere in the universe were calling his bluff that he was going to purchase Twitter, and he said, "Okay, I'll call your bluff," which was a bluff, and I'm going to buy it. And he didn't realize when he put the money down for it that he had to do his due diligence, just like when you buy a building, you have to see if it's going to fall down or not. And he tried to back out. And upon backing out, they said, "Oh, we're going to sue you for billions."
Right.
So I'm sure his lawyers said, "You know what? You might as well buy it now, because if you don't buy it, you may have to cough up $5 billion. It's going to cost you $44 billion to buy it," or whatever it was. I think it was $44 billion. And
I'll give it to Musk. He definitely has a pair of balls, Chris. Don't you think?
Oh God, they're huge. They're insane. Listen, he started with PayPal,
right?
Sold that, almost went bankrupt after that when he got into the rockets.
Tesla. Yeah,
the rockets, right?
SpaceX and Tesla almost bankrupt
at the same time, and now he's moved on to the Boring Company. You know, he does the underground tunnels. And now he's got Twitter. You know,
he's the richest man in the world. He probably has zero. He probably has $20 in the bank, though. You know.
Yeah. Well, you know what? He said something, and people are like, "Oh, poor Elon." He was in an interview somewhere, and he was trying to explain to someone, "Yes, I have like billions, but it's not like it's like over there in the bank. It's all tied up. He can't just like sell SpaceX, and you know what I mean? Like, Palumbo and Aceto and 500,000 other people bought it. They got together and pitched in, and they bought it. Right. It's not like it's going to be sold."
Yeah, his assets are worth the most. He's the richest guy in the world, but he probably, like I said, he probably is operating on a credit card. You know that the business pays. You know, for him. You know, so yeah. Hey, you know what? Someone's got to have the balls to do the things that he's doing. That's for sure. So
yeah.
It's fun to watch. It's like one of these things that you enjoy watching. You wouldn't want to be in his. You wouldn't want to have to go to sleep at night knowing you were him. But it's like kind of fun to watch him in action to see what he's going to do next. He always seems to get himself out of trouble though, and always winds up making money out of it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Every gamble he's ever taken, from when he took the money that he made from PayPal and he invested in his own personal money into Tesla and SpaceX to make sure they didn't go out of business. And then he started making tons of money on those companies. I mean, Tesla's super, successful. And now with Twitter, although I don't see the revenue stream coming from Twitter that he's going to really expect, but
that's why he needs the $8, and he's trying to like monetize it with the advertisers are running away, but he's trying to do like a PayPal on Twitter, so like I can send Dave Palumbo, $50, and he can get right. Of it.
Who knows? Maybe he'll be successful. You know,
maybe we can send out to like this idiot TCTC on the comments, he may be able to work with Elon Musk to
Well, he thinks
bring it to
Elon
another
is an
level.
alien. He thinks Elon is an alien, so it's possible. If I'm a reptile or Elon might be an alien. It's possible. All right, guys. Congratulations to Tabani, to Brett Wilkin. Brett Wilkin, we'll see him on stage in 2 weeks at the Big Man Classic in Spain. And we'll be seeing Tabani on stage at the Mr. Olympia contest. So that's super exciting. That's coming up in 5 weeks. If you want to get tickets, I think it's too late, but I would reach out to the Mr. Olympia LLC, whatever, ask Dan Solomon. There might be still some nosebleed seats left. Now, I think there's still some tickets left, but I think he said he sold out Saturday. I don't know if that means that they really have 0 tickets left or if they have like some tickets. I know that they're very happy. The expo, Chris, is supposed to be 20% bigger than it was last year. So that's good. That's good news for the Mr. Olympia contest. Well, this is the first year really that since we've come out of COVID where there was been no restrictions on anything. So this is definitely going to help the Mr. Olympia.
In Vegas too.
Yeah.
I mean, people would rather go, I think, to Vegas than down to Orlando.
Sure. Well, it depends. I mean, I don't necessarily know if that's the truth, but Vegas is, if Vegas is completely open like it is now, yes, I think Vegas is a better destination.
Oh gosh, when
Vegas is shut down, however, Orlando is a much better venue, I think, at that point. So.
Well, of course, because you have no choice.
Yes, exactly. I wouldn't mind seeing it switch back and forth. I like when they used to switch from year to year, because otherwise you get bored. You start getting Vegas is exciting now because it hasn't been there for so many, for so long. So everyone's like excited to go there again. But then I felt like it was getting a little redundant after a while, So the fact that it's in a new venue is very exciting, and I think that's
it's good to have a new venue.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, as we say every week here at Heavy Muscle Radio, Chris, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
Good night, everyone. We'll see you again next week. If you love the show, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends.